I'm also heavily inspired by Jin and everyone else. I'm also in my VTubing setup today. So um, yeah, how's with us today? We have the Museum of Crypto Art team, Renee, um, and Jin, of course. Along with Renee, we have how do we say your um, ID?
Tono. Hi,
Client.
everyone.
Hi, client. Cool. And on our team, we have Moon and Memelot, who are going to take us through some of the exciting stuff we have. Um, First of all, thank you so much for everyone who is joining the stream either live or will be watching it later on. Um, just wanted to, share a couple of things. So the past 2 weeks continue to be very exciting for us. We did make an announcement related to Raid Party as well. So just a bit on that. Yes, we will be developing the game as well as basically taking responsibility of building something fun for the community. That is all what I can say at this point in time. But hopefully, we will be sharing more details on that soon as well. Um, on the other side, what I wanted to basically talk about today is there was a tweet which we tweeted recently, which was, it was airdropper, right? So um, it's not just like one product which we're talking about, and we'll kind of cover it today in the call. But basically, the idea is that what we want to do is provide our community the tools so that they can create quote unquote whatever is required for the metaverse, and they can use that to airdrop it with to the community as well as create their own metaverse brand, environments, experiences. So these are the they will be seeing some of these tools which we will be releasing in the next few weeks and months for the community. Prop, what is the agenda? How is the agenda like? After this, do we go to the? Do we give the floor to Renee? Prop is still on mute. That's fine. Anyways, very excited. Today we have the Museum of Crypto Art team with us. And before we actually go into and talk about Museum of Crypto Art, I wanted to particularly talk about one thing, which was permissionless innovation, which is kind of related to our experience and involvement with the Museum of Crypto Art team. Um, we haven't talked much, between ourselves, but Renelle and team they just have been experimenting with Webaverse since a long time, and that is the kind of permissionless innovation which we want to foster, and which is what I think the open source and open metaverse is all about, right? So after the, I mean, all yours, Floor, Renelle, and team.
Hey guys, um, thanks for having us. I mean, like I met Jin in 2019 at the NYC, and since then I was like following all those things that he was doing with his crowd. And at some point, Webaverse came up, and then obviously like I followed it as well. And as everything, as you just said, is so permissionlessly, and we could just like start experiencing, experimenting, and like start to use our own avatars that we already own and like experience interoperability on that front. Um, at some point, like we were starting to build like the 3D interface between Mocha on like virtual worlds, and as like due to the like unpermissioned, like permissionless nature of Webaverse, like we started to build around and play around with Webaverse and like integrate our product, which is called Mocha Rooms, into Webaverse. And like what Clantono is like going to do during the stream is like showing you how you can basically curate your own NFTs into like a 3-dimensional like structure. You can already like see it on this like stream. You select the building that our architect creates, Untitled XYZ, and then you can like put like the NFTs into the different.
Okay, I think Rene got drugged. So, okay, he is back.
Oh, I was like being kicked out, but no worries. I'm back. So you can basically download the GLB files that you compose inside our DApp, and then download the GLB file which wraps the NFTs, and then you can upload that into Webaverse. And that's what we did with Mocha at the Verse experience that we just launched at verse.museumofcryptoart.com. You could like fly around in the Webaverse engine and like experience a couple of rooms that we have like curated from the community import that has been done before via our DApp ecosystem and then mapped into like these 3D spaces. Maybe like Clantono can explain a bit more like what he's doing there and like show the flow and how it ties into Webaverse.
Yes, of course. What do you know is our Mocha Rooms manager? It's inside our D app. So here you can choose or select your favorite room. If you own 8-slot floor, you can select your 8-slot room. We will now select this 8-slot room, and the manager launches. And now you can populate this room with your art. So today we will curate into this room art from the Mocha show, which was in the background of Renal. So here we can select our art pieces. I will do it with our auto populate function. And now you can see how this room is populated with art. And when this is done, we can download a GLB file and drop it into Webaverse. So I will download it. Take some seconds. Save. And now we can go to Webaverse. Here's our Webaverse world, and let's say I want to drop it here. As you know, just drag and drop. It's uploading. Drop the world. And there it is. A room filled with art. So let's move it a bit. Here it is. Rotation 0, 0, 0.
I think like what's important to say here is that like now we have like basically imported a snapshot of an art gallery into the world, but we are already working on like automated APIs so that you save like the state of an exhibition on chain on Polygon, and everything will be gasless, and then you will have an immutable record attached to each individual room that you have ever curated. So you could like potentially go back in time for each room that you own. Like you click a room and then you see what kind of stuff has been exhibited in October 2022 and load that state and display it. And you will also be able to have always the latest state reflected inside the Webaverse world, for example. So if you assume that client owner would now go back into the manager and then swap like an art piece from the wall, like with another NFT, press save, basically saving a new state for that room on chain, then like our APIs would like serve an updated state of that room into the Webaverse scene. And as like another visitor would like enter that museum or like an experience where like a museum build is like a room basically is aggregated into, they would like automatically see the latest iteration, the latest update for that room. And like these APIs will be integrated otherwhere as well, of course. And that way people can manage NFT exhibitions from a single place, from the Mocha DApp inside the museum, and then have like different instances of these room deployed into several Webaverse experiences and maintain them at once. That's basically the goal, where we want to like do a lot of heavy lifting for like scene builders and like give them tools to basically have like a self-service like NFT exhibition tool with Mocha rooms that they can use to easily manage and maintain their exhibitions.
Pretty cool. So Rene, do you want to talk a bit more about like Museum of Crypto Art in general? I mean, Rooms is one product, but like what is? Maybe you can talk a bit more about the larger vision, what you guys are thinking, etc.
Sure. So the museum was originally founded in 2020, I think, with like a Somnium build, and like they started to bring NFTs and exhibit NFTs inside the metaverse. And in 2021, which was like last year, I think it was like in around Q1, Q2, they launched like the museum as like an official foundation model, and like me and my team were onboarded as tech partners, and we started to design like a new vision, an inclusive vision for NFT curation. Like we wrote a manifesto where like at its core it's about like aggregating like the subjective realities and opinions of the many into like a more objective museum NFT exhibition reality, where we try to give everybody a voice to bring in their own assets and facilitate all of these voices via like the foundation, via the Mocha brand, and be like also like a gateway where we channel these curations that we facilitate with our products towards the conventional art space and the real world, and like allow people to bring user and community curated NFT exhibitions into physical spaces as well. So one product that we have is called Mocha Show. It allows you, it's a multiplayer DApp where you can invite Ethereum addresses or ENS addresses as collaborators. We pushed like an update where you can invite all holders of a POAP token as collaborators with a single click. And then you curate an NFT exhibit together from the individual inventories of the participants, and then you can share it with like a single URL that is super versatile and interoperable as well. Like I already like integrated this, for example, in the M3 website. I integrated this into Somnium Space. It's possible to load this inside Webaverse, of course, like because it's WebXR, and displayed on projectors in real life. Like the stuff that's behind me, that's a Mocha Show, displayed as like a layer for inside OBS as a background, where like art is displayed. And we want to have this as accessible as possible and allow everybody to curate art and like share it without having to pay for this. So all of these products, except Rooms, for Rooms we have like daily auctions now instead of fork. starting at 1 ETH per like one of one architecture space. But everything else, the curation of NFTs and like profile curation of your own account inside Mocha, which is called the multipass, where you can arrange your inventory and organize it for yourself and define what should be visible inside our UX and whatnot, to get like if you have like more than 1,000 NFTs, that is necessary. We limit the amounts of NFTs that you can bring into your account to 10 NFTs every day. So we want to have the most meaningful or valuable whatever NFTs in the accounts of our users and visible in the museum. And from there you can curate multiplayer, and everything is gasless. We pay the costs for the transactions on Polygon. And from there you can also like bring everything that you have curated and organized into your rooms, the way Clantono did, and like download the Rep GLB or have like real-time integration into all kinds of virtual worlds. That's basically what we wanted to build, like an inclusive ecosystem where user-curated content is organized and like served into all kinds of virtual worlds.
Very cool. Okay. Thank you so much, Renel and Clentino, for joining us. It was great. All right. Now the floor is Moon, Godfrey, and Memelot. How are you guys doing this?
Good question. I think I have. I'll take control of the screen. I've got some screenshots of different stuff, and I'll introduce these guys, and then they can talk about sort of the first half, and then I'll talk about the second half. How about that?
Sounds good.
Cool. Can you guys see my screen okay?
No, we cannot see your screen.
Oh, okay. Well, it might help if I was sharing.
I know.
Is that better?
Yep.
Great. So, as many people who are connected to us know, Webaverse has a great relationship with M3 and many creators there. Through that, we have collaborated on a few tools, especially sort of combining some of the hands-on knowledge and kind of boots on the ground experience of the M3 creators with our ability to really get things done with our Webaverse coders. So the first part of this is Boom Tools. And Boom Tools is a collaboration here between Boombox Head and Emmy Milotsky, helping out make this happen. Although I definitely think, obviously, this was this is a great example of somebody having a really good vision, getting it 99%, and then having an engineer come in and just help with those small things. Wonderful collaboration. So if you guys wanted to talk about that a little bit, and then I can move on to the next part.
Yeah, totally. I think it would be nice for to start with Boombox to let us know
Yeah.
because it's great to let us know what he wanted to create
Sure.
from start.
Sure, much love. I appreciate you guys, and very cool presentation with Mocha and all the projects you guys have been sharing. So with Boom Tools, I don't know if you guys are watching my screen or you could still check out his screen. Same, basically, long story short, we can randomize layers inside Unity, and we made this so that we can, do some research around creating avatars and VRMs. So in its current form, you can fill it with assets, and it can randomize all these layers and basically output NFTs, avatars, 3D worlds, and pretty much anything in between. So it's pretty robust, and so far, Meme's been doing an incredible job helping us battle test it with different projects. And what we have here is Wasi's, and he did a great job and just added blend shapes and a lot of support. That's going to be really cool.
Yeah. So I to touch upon that a bit, right? So Basically, the idea is that after, and this is like the alpha version of it, we just want to show, but eventually we'll have like a fully packaged version that people will be able to go create their avatar, not just avatar, but like full generative sets, which we know that a lot of NFT collections are also interested in, as well as like any custom avatar collections. Like for example, Boombox has his as well. We'll be able to create that out of our character studio. But these are like just like the early experimentations of what we've been working on. So yeah, over to you guys who have been actually doing the work.
Yeah, totally. So I'm going to be sharing you right now how it's working. So let me just real quick share the screen. Oh, well, I'll explain a little bit before actually popping the window. Boombox Tools made a great like job on creating these randomization options, but we needed something for the community to be able to get these options like easier, like to have a setup for them to add different type of models, different types of textures, different types of materials, and so we decided to make that Unity has its the ability to create a custom inspector and the ability to um, uh, make this inspector to modify certain things of the scene elements, but making it a lot easier. So let me just show you right now my Unity window just crashed a bit, but that's what happened. Okay. So, sorry, it's getting a bit slower here. And there we go, screens and screen to go in. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. So I really wanted to show you how easy now is to set up the Boombox tools. We've been trying to make it like a lot really easy for everyone to add their own models to in humanoid standard form. So at the end, it can be exported as a VRM file. And I want to show you from start to the end how it's going to be as easy to set up as just following certain instructions. So I just duplicated this scene called new Oasis because it's empty, it doesn't have anything. And we will start creating, we're following the process to create any kind of object. So notice that in all the scenes, we will have the boom tools, and the scripts, we have the DNA manager. DNA manager controls everything that you will see in the game view. So we've added this add options manager, and this options manager will let you create all the possible options. So let's go ahead and play that and select it. And in this part, it will guide us to create everything. So let's start with this. Edit main models. We will be choosing the models that will be exported at the end. So same as here that this is the CV character that will be exported. In this case, we will need to select the objects that will be chosen for export. So I've added before this the start the bodies of the watches. I will be choosing just 3 for the sake of presentation, and we will add them to the scene. And also, we will really quick add right now the options of the pics. just to have everything in the scene that will be required for the final export, I will just create an empty and call it bits to have it everything ordered. Right now, the main exported chapter must be on the root file, but that's because VRM requires it that way. And finally, let's go to ice, create the child, and right now it's pretty straightforward. We're just in a Unity scene file, we're just adding the elements that were exported from your 3D modeling application, and we're just adding it to this scene. I will turn off this charger, and notice that we have every single option on top of each other. I will just add the colors or the materials. Just big arrow material. And that is why I actually chose Vrn, because this is normally this is really easy setup, but it takes a bit of time. So I can do that. Now we go to the iris materials. As aviator, as that. Now notice this has blend shape, so we will touch that topic later on, because it supports now to have like different blend shapes. So now that we have all the options here and with materials, let's go back to our editor. You will actually find it here. If not, just click on here and select it again. And now we will go to edit main models. The main models will be the possible VRM files. So in Unity, when you select something, notice that I have it like selected the current options manager. But if I go ahead and select any model, you will notice that it disappears or it focuses on other things. So what we added here is an edit button that will block it. So we can quickly select the different models. So 1, 2, 3, and go ahead and add selected objects. These will be our options for the final 3D model to be exported as a VRM file. And we can name the trait if we have more than one option. Notice that it will pop the option of the trait of the name of if it's chosen. Let me go ahead and select it. Notice that it didn't add it repeated once. And we can call this one body. This is the trait of the final name. In the JSON file, we'll say the trait is body, and these are the options that we'll be able to choose. So we can just call this chubby, dino, and duck. In the final JSON file, this will be displayed as the chosen options at body. All right. So that's it for now for the body. Let's go back to the manager and edit now the options that will be able to be chosen from in this case from the WASIS. So, well, just real quick before, I wanted to mention this too. These are the actual how often or how much possibility do you have to get this option. If you add this value to 100, it will have a weight of 100, and if the one have 50, well, 101, this will be very strange to happen, but these two will be like very common. So you see something that in NFTs, it's like to have like something more special, right? I will leave it for now in 1, as it is something that I haven't connected, but it will be working in the final final project. Okay. So let's go back to the manager and now edit the options of the bits and the textures and everything. So how does it work? First, we have to set up the options that we'll be able to choose, and then we tell the program what will happen to those options, and we will see that in a bit. But for now, let's go ahead and select the bits. First of all, I have to name how these options will be called for us to identify them quickly. So I will just call it fix, and it will be of game objects. So same as before, just select and select the options. Edit, and select the options. Pics, add selected game objects. Notice how quick it's done. This option is to just find quicker certain options, but it's not necessary just for when editing these values. All right. And we have quickly to remove everything and to add selected objects and to delete each one. So we're done with the pics. Let's go to the main manager, and now let's create the eyes. Game object. Let's view, edit, and go ahead and to our eyes options and add selected objects. There we go. Quickly done. Finish editing. Come back, and now we will start with working with textures. Textures. It's just like that. The texture that will be applied to certain material, right? So I will just call this chubby textures. I will create it, edit, and go to the bodies. You should have the body, the chubby textures here, or the body that would be applied to the chubby 3D model, and go ahead, select them, and same as before, add select. And now back. Now we need the textures of the Dino. So Dino textures. Edit. And for the sake of this, just add textures. Let's go ahead and edit first the Dino that we didn't add. Dino. Add selected. Finish editing. Now back to main options. View, edit. And body textures, add selected. Finish it. Notice how fast the options are set up now. It will take a lot of time to drag one by one, so that's why we made this option manager to make it easier. So now we have the options, and these options will work now for us to make an action with those options. So let's go back to the manager, and now it's time to edit the actions. What will happen to those options? Right? So just an identifier name. I will call it this bigs OBJs for big OBJs, and the thread name will be big. We have two different options right now. We either to display the selected option or to change a mesh material. For this case, we need to just display the selected option. In the case of our bigs, we have four different bigs, so we will just go ahead and do this. And before, we're just going to edit this one. Let's go to view. Now, notice when I click this, it will only give me the options that are of not the texture options, but the game object options, because those are the only ones that will work for this. So let's go ahead and select bigs, because that's what we are going to be adding. The trade name that we set up before, but we can modify it here, big. And the new parent name, in this case, what we want to add is when this gets created, we want to make it parent or of something of the VRM final file. So if we go to body chubby, we would want to make it be child of the head, right? Because we want it to follow to be the child of the head. So whenever the head moves around, the beak also will move around. So just grab the name of it, go back to it, and in new parent name, just place head. This option is set by default, so let it be there. And now we have the add plane shape identifier. Notice that when you create a new plane shape, you can now connect the presets of the VRM file to the plane shapes that you exported from your 3D model application. Let's really quick see what the bigs have. It has neutral, closed mouth, open mouth, A, E, I, O, and U. So let's go back here, and these are the VRM specs presets. So we have A, and we can click many times. Just go ahead, I, O, E, U. If we don't add anything here, it will take the preset name. So it's optional if you have it the same, if you have the same name as the preset name. So you can set it here to A or just leave it blank. I will just set it and for each element here, just for to show you that it's a pretty quick tool. And for the other options, I believe there's no connection, close mouth, open mouth. I don't think there's a preset for those options. So I will just leave it for now that we remove it. And that's it for the pics. Let's go back to the actions. And now let's do the eyes OBJs. And the trait will be eye. And same as before, let's go ahead. And we choose here, instead of the beaks, the eyes. The new parent name will be same as before, head. And the blade shape identifiers. Let's just go ahead. Notice that this doesn't have like blade shapes, but that's because they are glasses, but these do have blade shapes. And notice this one, its name is close L, and this one is close R. In VRM, it's blink L and blink R, so we need to match them. So let's go ahead and do that. And we have happy, angry, sad, bored, and neutral. So let's click many times again. So we had angry, sorrow, in our case was sad. I will just close it. We had, I believe it was happy, but maybe it's with joy. And let's do blink L, blink right, and blink. Now remember, in our case, it's not called blink, it's close L, close R, close both. And that's it for this section. Let's go back to create actions. We just now have it will choose from those, but we still need to set up the textures. So we will do that now. Chubby texture, and the trait name will be color for this one. Let's create that. And same as before, just go to view. Notice that it has lesser options, and that's because it doesn't require it doesn't have blend shapes because it's just a texture. And the random target, same as before, just set it here which one will be. In our case, we want the chubby texture to be applied to, and choose here to which one will be applied. So it's over here. This one is the one that has the material, so I will add that one. Sorry, is this one to here. Notice that if I want to add another render, it just pops me to add an additional element. And if you add by accident the same object, it won't add it. But that's just something to be aware of. And that's it. That's for the chubby texture. Now let's do it for the Dino. Identifier name, Dino texture. Let's go ahead and call it color, same as before. Because even though if it repeats, they won't appear both these two chubby texture and Dino texture because they are for different models. So let's go ahead and, for the sake of it, I will just create the dot texture too and say color. Let's go ahead and set texture. Let's edit the Dino texture. Dino textures here, and the target renderer will be the Dino. There we go. Let's go back. Now the dock. Dock textures, color, and just go ahead and select the dock. And there we go. And that's about it. We have everything set up. It should be working now. We have set up everything. And well, let's try it. Well, this is for the main options. We can further edit, and we will show this in a bit. But the embedded data of the PRM, but let's just see if this will be working now. Just we will just move this a little bit lower so it can come the chart and be seen through. Let's do it like that. And so when we hit play, notice that we have already set up the options, and it's choosing from those different options. But we set up that in about 15 minutes, 10 minutes. I may be a little bit slower, but the idea here is that we can make it very easy. And now, if we want to export something, we can right now to set up how many options will be exported. We just have to go to export scripts in batch export. Right now, total NFT that will be exported will be 10. So let's just go ahead and click batch. The exported files will be on the streaming assets folder. So let me just show you. And I would just delete everything. So you can see that everything will be created from scratch and will be placed in here. I just want to show you that very quick. So now the folders are empty. And let's go ahead and click batch. It will create 10 different NFTs, 10 different objects ready to be minted as NFTs. Notice that it goes one by one. This was created, of course, by Boombox. This is the part where he takes the screenshot and creates the VRM file. And so let's go back to the streaming assets and notice that all the pictures have been taken for each one. And not only that, but also the JSON output. And let me show you what I meant with the traits. Notice that now we have the body, chubby. I think I didn't change some of this, but notice that the trait type here it's chubby and the body is chubby. I didn't change the values of the peaks, but we could actually have just changed in the program to be black. In the eyes, it's eyes dead, and the color it's body, the selected color. But we can choose the trait of the names inside the program as we were looking at. But this is created automatically with everything that you set up in the options manager. And finally, the VRM file that it's created. This is the files. Let's go ahead and take a look at them. Vrn Viewer. I'm opening right next to the screen, so I will copy this location and VRM model. You see, and he's dancing. He has blind shapes in his eyes. We can look at that. And notice that you can blink R, you can blink L. And notice that we actually set up that in 10-15 minutes. Letter O, letter I.
Go. Great work, man. Great work.
Thanks, man. Since you did also that. It's a great job what you did that. And also let me show you that it can be, the best thing of all, that it can be imported to Webaverse. And that's something that we really like to make, because it gives a better value to the NFTs created, because you can now see your avatars, your creations, not only in certain applications, but also in Webaverse, and that's the best part of all, right? So let me just go ahead and drag it. And equip it. There we go. Now, I missed to, of course, to add the feet. For the purpose of this demonstration, I didn't add them, but it's the same process. Just select the possible option of the feet, and they will be exported. And as you can see, everything is working as expected. It's a bit, the watches are small, so maybe That you can use them around.
Nice.
Very
Yeah, this was one testing I made. So
yeah, many watches.
the many watches that we have and the recluse. Yeah, so it's like, let's go.
Let's go. So seems like that. Pretty cool, right? Moon, maybe you might want to now cover that. Like this tool is still, requires a bit of, like, you need to be a bit more of an artist, a bit more technical. What is the final evolution of what we are going to release, and how it's going to work? Could you talk a bit about that?
Yeah. I think, our whole focus is on meeting creators where they are as much as possible. And we see most creators like, 80-20 primarily being in three places. The first place is the web. Everybody, all of us use the web every day of our lives, and that just makes a lot of sense. I personally use, the web for viewing 3D models constantly, things like GLTF Report and GLTF Viewer, Vrn Viewer. The other one is Unity, and that's why Boom Tools makes a lot of sense. A lot of the avatar creators, 3D creators, especially from the VR chat community, are already skilled up and knowledgeable in Unity, and so that's obviously a clear place to go. And then the third place is Blender, and there's already a lot of great tooling around making these kinds of things, though, in Blender, where we our focus on Blender is probably more exporting out to the web and some of the tribulations there. But as far as random generation and stuff, it seemed like a great opportunity there was with Unity, and then also with what we're working on with the web. While we are supporting export directly to Webaverse from Unity with a separate plugin, I think that kind of pushing our efforts into optimization and exporting through the Boom tools. It's not just for randomization and 10K generation, so just like exporting your avatar to other metaverses is I think a great direction for that project.
Right. And for example, like you have genies, right? Like they have an avatar collection. If tomorrow an artist like Boombox or maybe somebody like me who's no, like not talented at all, and I want to make something, like a few different characters in a universe. So for that, we have some plans for the character studio. So maybe, we can talk a bit more about that how it is going to enable, noobs like myself as well.
Yep. So we're also working on a roadmap toward a really beautiful web offering that's going to start very simple, largely just meeting the needs of our creators and our own artists and creators to get stuff into Webaverse and really authored for the web generally. But then it's going to become sort of a full-fledged character creator and sort of branch out from there. So I'll go over that experience a little bit. We're still playing with the name. Calling this Avatar Studio, but it's Webaverse Character Studio, Avatar Studio. We'll figure it out. We'll have a vote maybe. The first part is the Avatar Optimizer. Half of that is leveraging the Webaverse technology that kind of auto bakes avatars to do that for anyone's avatar. So if you come to the website and maybe you got some really cool assets from like Artifact for your CloneX, but your CloneX is millions of polys and the texture is very big. We're trying to offer something where you could pretty quickly just drag and drop, press a button. It'll do a lot of the basic optimization for you and compile Atlas textures so that your entire model comes down to like something that can reasonably be rendered in Unity or the web or really anywhere else. The problem with a lot of 3D models is they look beautiful when they're rendered, but the renders are, one render every 3 minutes as opposed to having a render 60 times a second. And so they're often not performance oriented. And we even Ready Player Me and Genies and all these are great, but and Daz and Real Illusion and all the different character creators are great. But usually when you export, you still have to do an optimization pass. And so we're trying to bring that all to the web in our kind of first pass and say, hey, bring your characters here. They're optimized, they're ready to go. You can export them as a GLTF, GLB, VRM, or you can send them directly to Webaverse. They go right to your wallet, and you're just in the world with your character. Building on top of that, we're going to have some sort of authoring tools, especially around making sure that your meshes are the kind of optimized. And we're using GLTF pipeline under the hood. This is all open source, and Mesh Optimizer to do the mesh optimization. So all that stuff runs. You can validate it, have limited control, but for most users, it's just a big one button you press. From there, this is kind of what it looks like for most users. Just drag your file onto the window, you're good to go. From there, we're working on, we have sort of a base avatar customizer that looks awfully like a white box Ready Player Me, that we are leveraging for a few different things, both in engine, but also as part of kind of our standalone stuff. So this is used in our procedural generation for our AI-driven NPCs, for example. It's also used in our marketplace for selecting assets that you might want to try on before you buy. We'll also, this is just a React component that embeds directly into Webaverse itself for when you want to switch out, and we're working on a different, a really nice UI. So you can, switch out what's on your head, what's on your, what gloves you're wearing, all that stuff.
Really exciting. I mean, I'm really excited about that feature. And I mean, as a layman, right? Like, for example, if I want to design like some wearables, etc., because I know like they kind of work as skin meshes. So how's that gonna work with this character studio? Just curious.
So Webaverse is doing something that I think is really fascinating. I've never seen this before. We're both towing the line of you can there's classes, kind of the classes you would expect in a game like Final Fantasy or Diablo. I have a screenshot of that later. But you can also always override that with user generated content. And so we want people to always be able to express themselves regardless of the class. And while we're creating kind of suggestions, templates, and first party content, we're also going to guide this toward allowing people to both create and sell assets in the marketplace that you can directly try on and say, hey, I love that. Check it out. Goes right to my wallet. As well as being able to unbundle assets you own and say, hey, I've got this Clonex. I want to, or I don't know, maybe not that one, but something I own all the rights to, and I'd like to fractionalize it. And sell pieces of it. So, I can't even necessarily imagine what people are going to do once they have an avatar-centric marketplace. But we're sort of both saying, hey, we've got classes, we've got these styles. The screenshot I have up is our team has just created this. They're trying to figure out different pieces that can all interop and work together, so you can customize your character. But then you can also override those pieces with individual. Usually with a full avatar that maybe you got from VR chat or somewhere else, or with individual parts. And you can also always download your avatar and remix it in another software like Blender, add patches, change the color or texture, and then upload it right back into Webaverse. So that's kind of our phase 3, is that our character creator, if you've ever seen Diablo 2, this is sort of our North Star right now for design, is that the characters are there, they talk, they look at you, they're expressive, they're aware of you and of each other, and when you select one, it's kind of like Final Fantasy where you're saying, hey, you're joining my party, and you can actually have a party of more than one character, which means you don't necessarily have to commit to like, this is always my avatar. You can actually embody different characters in your party. But that also plays through the selection process, where you might want the mage character and they'll step forward and talk to you, and you you say, okay, cool, I'll name you. And if you don't want to change anything about that character, you don't have to. You just press the through buttons, and they come with a default kind of skin and set and everything they do. but you can customize all kinds of things about them if you really want to as well. So this is kind of what the UI looks like. No, just kidding. But this is kind of, I saw this and I thought it was a nice little hack of, just very basic thing that I saw that people were posting that they wish Fortnite had. I was like, oh, we already got this. We just need a little UI around it. So the final form of this is a user-generated content marketplace, as well as we'll be pushing a lot of seasonal collections through Webaverse itself and Upstreet and the story there, as well as a lot of collaborations with other really cool projects that are making stuff. There's not going to be any transaction fees, but we will offer opportunities to unbundle and fractionalize assets. We want to make sure, though, that's all done with creator approval and probably per project at first. We also want to guarantee royalties for creators and make sure that while you can mint with any contracts, if you mint with our contracts, we provide some guarantee that you get paid when sales happen. And while we can't, we're not going to actively stop everything in the world, we're making active measures to try and make sure that creators get paid. And kind of buck some of the trends that have been happening in NFTs, where people are screwing creators to get save a few extra bucks. We also are offering try before you buy in 3D, VR, and AR. So you can pull your phone out, try it on yourself. That'll come into the actual marketplace with full WebXR support. And I think it's the first real, there's a couple of other really cool projects coming out. But from what I've seen, we're developing one of the first real avatar-centric, wearable native, Web3 native marketplaces, where creators can get right in there and start making stuff and participating in it. And our goal here is not, it's everything we build really is open source and open to others to contribute. So, our goal is kind of to kickstart this thing and build this with everybody in our community, together and as equals. So this is what it looks like.
I hope not.
That's all I got for now. I think we're deep in development on this. It's on GitHub. If you want to participate, please come join us. We're looking for great, talented, passionate people who would do this every day of their lives if they could. I am Lala Loon on GitHub, or you can find me in the Discord.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Moon. Great stuff. I guess that brings us to the finale with Jin. Jin, what do you have in store for us?
Hey, oh, cool. I'm streaming now. Are y'all watching my stream or camera?
1 second, actually. I think, yeah, we should be watching your screen. Hopefully, Prop has switched it to yours. I can see yours.
Yeah, I guess, just in terms of happenings that have been going on recently, I just want to kind of quickly go over some stuff. First off, shout out to Needletools. We were just talking about a exporter pipeline from Unity to open platforms like WebXR and Webaverse avatars. So I just want to give a shout out that Needletools is a powerful plugin that you can export 3JS GLTF content out of Unity with their plugin, which is in open beta right now. And it offers artists a easier workflow to leverage Unity's light map baking pipeline, which is way easier to use than Blender. So if you are already experienced in Unity, as many creators are, especially in VR chat and whatnot, highly recommend checking this tool out to create some scenes and prototype it out. I've been really actively involved in avatar-related things lately, and so we just kind of covered Boom Tools. And one thing Avatar Interrupt Group does at M3 is we are creating wearables and exploring how these wearables can get attached to many different avatar types. You can see here like Viroids, you can see Yetis and crypto avatars and Metaloots. is a 3D loot collection based on loot that text on-chain metadata project, and we are essentially bootstrapping as one of the initial collections with the avatar builder a set of wearables that are remixable, moddable, and based on the original loot metadata that Dom created. So you can see here it's on all sorts of different base meshes, and this is the kind of vision that we have for avatar creation, where it's not one base mesh. We want a collection to work across all sorts of different bodies and explore compatibility with all sorts of, because metaverse avatars come in all sorts of shapes and sizes, right? So, and then
I love the dog with the helmet. I mean, that's just that's just so amazing.
which one? The Tubby?
The dog with the helm.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
We are still equipping the a bunch of characters with MetaLoot, and then we're gonna do a fashion shoot together, and then start working on virtual productions. So if you can imagine, sort of like a virtual production TV show where we're all LARPing as our loot characters. It really does kind of help with creating case studies and spreading avatar interoperability across different working groups and whatnot. And speaking of which, I've been engaging with the Open Metaverse Interoperability Group, collaborating with them, and basically coordinating the Avatar Interop group as part of that, and Metaverse Standards Forum as well. And there's a lot of interest right now in wearables. So there is recently a group proposal draft for wearables for avatars in the Metaverse Standards Forum. It's currently a proposal, but it's this kind of stuff that we're working on is could go on to a much bigger stage as we kind of work on the standards and create case studies that can be useful to working groups that are working on open metaverse standards. And other than that, the Tubby Cats team reached out to see if anyone knew about how to help rig all these avatars that they're working on. They're making 3D and 2D sprites for all the Tubby Cats, and this is a CC0 collection. So I'm a really big fan of anything CC0 to kind of open source and bootstrap examples, templates with. And in Webaverse, as you know, like they have sprite sheet support for avatars and whatnot. So these game dev assets can work automatically in Webaverse as your pet or as your avatar. And as you saw with Boom Tools, these assets can be inputted into Boom Tools and then help generate a collection of usable files that you could equip as an avatar, as a pet. So that's in progress. And with MetaLoot, I just kind of really like this visual because we're equipping our gear, and then we want to go on an adventure through different worlds to showcase Interop, like live demo. So working on Avatar Builder as like initial collection, as Moon kind of talked about a little bit earlier, and Chain Runners. By the way, I quickly kind of did a quick test of downloading a blend file and then exporting a VRM and then dropping it into Webaverse. And then I showed them the Blender plugin in which they could do that. This is a 20K like CC0 3D avatar collection. And then today they just, or yesterday, they announced that they've added VRM download support for all of their runners. So if you need an avatar base mesh to just kind of get started, equipping wearables onto, you could just go to studio.chainrunners.xyz, pick something from here, and then download as a VRM and just start customizing it, or as a blend and then use the Saturday 06 Blender plugin and start customizing your avatar. So a VRM is just getting lots of momentum right now. It is the de facto best interoperable avatar format right now, and I'm just happy to see like so much adoption and support brewing, because the network effects of having that kind of like adoption and interop, like it's going to be a red pill when people bring their identity, their avatar across with them between different programs, of like this new understanding of digital ownership. You know, it's not just the token that you collect, but also the portability of it across different platforms and whatnot. And yeah, and I'm stoked for people to experience that moment soon. So that's it from me. If anyone's interested in working on avatar interop like goals such as 3D collections, pets, wearables, animation systems, we have a weekly meetup group at M3. It's all in public, and our past notes are uploaded here. So check us out, M3.org. We, yeah, looking forward to more sort of projects with y'all and bringing all these collections to life in 3D.
Awesome, Jen. Do you want to share? I know that you had been working some stuff related to, like documentation, engaging more with the community in terms of documentation. Are those things you want to share today or maybe in the next call?
Yeah, I could do a really quick showcase.
Maybe a sneak peek, yeah.
So in here, you can see that there are open applications and then bounties for working on documentation to add readmes and how-to guides for different things like pets, weapons, vehicles, and mounts, and for Webaverse avatar-related equipables. So such as this torch, so like test out this repo, add a README to it, and then you can earn tokens for doing such. And then we'll have a leaderboard as well, in which we can do an airdrop after a period of time for those who helped out a lot with improving the documentation and examples. And I'm almost ready to kick the tires on this thing. It's just I need to create a step-by-step, like all-in-one URL, like here's the handbook on how to work on this, and we'll have like a weekly check-in on this too. So yeah, it's pretty much 99% there. And this bounty board is, I think, the process that we have set up for this is useful for any project that wants to be more open, decentralized, and to get their community more involved with helping build the project. And a lot of open source projects in general could use more help with documentation. It is one of those things that makes it more accessible, makes it also more useful for other working groups and artists as well. So yeah, I'm hoping that as we do this and learn, that we can set an example, a role model for other projects to adopt the same thing. So kind of recursive, documenting how we're documenting.
Yeah, very cool. Before we wrap up, since we talked about standards and all, right? So, I've been reading a bit about the USD format, so you might want to, educate us, maybe you or Moon, what's happening on that front.
I'm happy to speak on that.
Sure, man.
USD stands for Universal Scene Description. It was created by Pixar and Disney. No, sorry, it was created by Disney and pushed by Pixar and Apple. And it's a great flexible format that's getting a lot of adoption in the like 3D communities, especially around cinematic, like high-end 3D production. And people are starting to build workflows toward it, Unreal Engine, especially with virtual production. However, most of the data that USD contains that's unique to it is stuff that is really cool, but we can't really use, like complex node data and shader graphs and things that can be used to reconstruct certain kinds of effects between different softwares, but don't necessarily translate to the limitations of game engines well. So what is happening is we can load USD, but we're loading a limited subset of basically the things that you would expect of, just regular skin meshes and objects and textures and things, and kind of bypassing all of that more complex stuff. But that does mean that we have interoperability with what Apple's doing with ARKit, Reality Viewer, as well as what NVIDIA is really pushing. So 3JS, which Webaverse and many other web-based sort of projects are built on, now has USD support as of like yesterday in main branch. So we're quickly adopting that. And we can interchange pretty easily between GLTF, GLB, and USD. So whatever you need, there should be a download button. You just choose which one you want, and you don't really have to worry about it too much. But hopefully that just makes it a little bit easier for people who are using that pipeline.
Thanks. That was a great rundown. Cool. I think that is all from our end. Anybody has anything else? Jin, Moon, Renee, and team, Client Tono, Boombox, Memelot.
I just think it's great the path we're taking. Like everything that it's done is to make everything more easy to create this interoperable world. And yeah, I'm actually excited of what's happening right now.
Also,
everywhere.
I think we're working on the craziest thing right now, and
Yeah,
we'll show that at the next community call.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Some exciting stuff happening. I mean, on our core, Upstreet, as well as the game engine, the team has been heads down, working through some major refactoring in terms of gameplay as well as optimization, as well as this new exciting feature which Moon just mentioned. So hopefully we will be sharing that soon enough, hopefully by next community call, if not later. And yeah, thanks everyone for joining. Always a pleasure. And we'll be sharing more details on the Raid Party stuff next week with the Raid Party community. The extended Webaverse community is also invited to join that. That's all from us. Thanks.
Thanks, everybody. That was great.